I appreciate it. So the reason I have this up on your screen, if I can get on with things, I've been sitting here for 20 minutes, is this section. I found it interesting because it's a good reminder for people as to, yeah, we've had redactions from the initial paperwork that have been released, but it's extra interesting to remind you where they continued to redact the information. And you see it simply in brackets saying personal information and then off onto the next Roman numeral or onto the next paragraph. Point. And there's 1, 2, 3 in this particular one and 1 in the one down below it. It has everything to do with the specifics around their relationship, their specific issues with their finances, and there's a little extra with that. I'm pulling from my memory, and I probably shouldn't, but that's where I'm going with all of this. So, I mean, there's a reason they don't want that, and it's not important that we necessarily know it, that we know what's important that comes out after the fact, but we know it's not fucking good. You know, I'm not trying to laugh at it because it's something that you want private in this matter for a reason. A sensitivity area. But beyond that, in the greater scope of things, it's both understandable, and it's a way that the RCMP are showing in the Globe and Mail that they're protecting the witnesses in this circumstance, protecting their information. And it's a way to protect their information and direct it. And it's normal. It's just, if you read them singularly, it stands out to you at either time. But again, it's just portions of this that remain redacted. It's not that we can't guess, not that we can't figure it out, but they're not putting it out there. They don't want to source it, be the source of it. It says, they talked about his relationship with Malaya. He, being Daniel, said the following. 1. They had been together for about 3 years and moved pretty quickly. It moved, meaning the relationship, their romance. Just one sec. Just my apologies. Daniel said the following. They had been together for about 3 years and it moved pretty quickly. He moved into Malaya's grandmother's house with her after about 2 weeks. They met on Facebook dating. It was love at first sight. You know what I'm talking about? 2, he said their relationship is good. They have ups and downs like any couple. And then it states in brackets personal information. So the rest is kept private. We can continue on in our minds. It's not like... It's pretty easy to fill in that blank in that sense. With so much. It's just a reminder. I'm not telling you what to think. But here's the point where you're free to choose your own adventure, bro. Let me see. And it goes number 3. Personal information redacted. That'll be interesting to know. 4, he said they would yell at each other when they were fighting, but there was no physical violence in their relationship. So what this is just a breakdown of redactions into the police officer further probing into this the situation at hand, obviously, but further into on their own because something stands out to them. Good for them. We know your relationship sucked. We can see the ultimate result in all of that. We know that you've lied, and in this circumstance, no matter what it is and where it is, if you're lying and it's so blatantly obvious, it's certainly has something to do with the fate of Jack and Lily. The more immediate, they need to fess up and come clean or be motivated to. And that motivation is going to come by way whenever the police get a better picture of what it is that is going on from all of the evidence that they're gathering since May the 2nd, 2025. I can't wait to know exactly all of the pieces that they have that we don't at this point in time. I wonder just how many pieces of information that they have that we would consider not having at this point in time. That would be really interesting. And it's not going to be a piece of information like something written on a piece of paper saying Daniel is innocent, by the way, or Janie is innocent. Sorry, guys. No, it's not going to look anything like that. But little nuggets, little pieces, little angles. Well, wouldn't you think that something in Daniel's, huge notebooks would have led somewhere? All of that is evidence in of itself. Never mind the information that he was trying to impress upon the actual investigators in the situation. In this situation with Jack and Lily, I trust the RCMP. It doesn't mean things can't improve. And it's not like we're not going to be in the know. They have it so intertwined with updates and little personal interviews. It's not like they're going to drop this story. It's not like it's going anywhere. And especially with such situations, although people want to use the catchphrase that one thing doesn't have to do with the other. In legal, it doesn't legally have anything to do with Jack and Lily. I'm talking Daniel's charges against Anonymous. Doesn't mean we have to find reason to add any more obscurity to it. We pretty well know what this is all about. But nonetheless, what it does is reminds us all, after this is all said and done, that Jack and Lily was living with a SX offender, a violent person who had something against their mother and who showed a pattern of physical abuse towards them leading up to their day of disappearance. Now, these are the facts. These are the facts of the situation. These are the facts of the case, Janie. These are the things that you're sensitive about. These are things that Janie wouldn't talk about in a million years. What did that say about Daniel? Daniel said they were recently fighting about money, then personal information redacted. There we go. Daniel said that they were recently fighting about money. You surveyed the area because you're looking to dump a body. You survey for the best spot you need to choose because you've got a choice to make, son. You have the next biggest choice. You already chose to take the lives of 2 innocent children, and you're choosing so many different felonies at this point in time. You're surveying the area. You need to survey. You don't need to survey a big different distance when it comes to a 4 and a 6-year-old, you asshole. Especially when you're trying to pretend that the kids just wandered out while you were sitting there in your bedroom laying there. Well, if they did, they shouldn't be that far. They should be within a couple 100 feet. Sounds like this asshole's been up for days. You know, like when you have been up, when you've been up and you've been partying and you go on to the 3rd day or the 2nd day, your body starts doing things you don't anticipate, like your voice starts sounding a certain way because it's wearing out. Your body needs rest. So you're not the same in that sense. You sound different. And Daniel sounds like that. Delayed, but in a psychosis. Sounds like he's dialed into a psychosis here. Isn't that right, Danny boy? There's Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Uh-oh,
Not that one.
Very stressful. I mean, ever since the Friday morning, when we noticed that the children were gone, immediately jumped in the vehicle, surveyed all the areas, many dirt roads, many culverts as I could, and waited for the police to get there. As soon as I noticed they weren't there, immediately.
Well, those are two different things. Those are different things. How can you be doing all of those things? The cops were there in 20 minutes. You had already left by the time your girl called the RCMP. Are you sure about that? Not sure I believe these sequence of events. We've got problems here. And it's not just that you can sit back and wait for the answer. Here we are 302 days later. And they're not willing to be cooperative in that sense. Remind you of anybody else? The people who are left to care for Jack and Lily, the missing kids, aren't willing to cooperate in adding any sort of information or giving the actual information to the authorities as to what really happened. They've got to go about this the hard way.
Immediately jumped right in the vehicle and surveyed all the area, every dirt road, every culvert they could find. Jack just absolutely loves bugs, dinosaurs, and anything like that. But Lily loves girly things, but she also loves doing everything with Jack, bugs. They're like best friends, not just brother and sister. And Jack just absolutely loves bugs, dinosaurs, and anything like that. But Lily.
Wow, that's a pretty good dance move. He's got that move. He's got that move down. Oh, but isn't that how it would look if it was natural? Hell nah. You can't control your emotions. These show a controlled emotion around a particular trigger word for a camera, in front of the camera. That's the point of it. Oh, cut. Remember Letitia Staunch? Cut. We need to do that again. I wasn't crying in my first one.
Loves girly things, but she also loves doing everything with Jack, bugs. They're like best friends, not just brother and sister. I know they took their boots. That's pink boots for Lily, blue boots for Jack with dinosaurs on them. Lily had her backpack with white, and it was white with strawberries on it. I imagine after.
Belinda says Cindy says that she's got no idea about what that backpack is. Or whose backpack that is. Nobody's ever seen that backpack before. If it matters. It's amazing how specific he can get around what the couple of kids were exactly wearing when he didn't see anything else. And they're really painting an unrealistic picture right from the beginning about the likelihood of the kids being alive. Like, it makes absolutely no sense to believe the kids are alive in their position. Could you imagine? Could you imagine this bunch being your parents? That's a terrifying thought. Look at what they're doing on the backs of their own kids.
In the woods, that'd be probably brown, but I don't see them carrying their backpack. I don't see them keeping a pull-up on for that long after it got soaked from the very first day. We only found the 2 boot tracks outside of the house.
Whereabouts?
Soaked from the very first day.
That's probably 10 feet away from.
How about, when was the last time you changed his pull-up? Mr. Logic? You hadn't seen the kids since Thursday. Since you last touched them on Thursday night.
From the backyard.
In the backyard, okay.
Nothing new, other than the helicopters are still in the air, and they had dogs. They took around the dogs today, and as of last night, they had 8 more drones going up with infrared. I urge the public to come out if you have anything, come out as fast as possible and get it to any detachment or any police service that you have available to get to talk to.
Ah, damn. Interrupted by one of those commercials again. Y'all, it's 9 o'clock Eastern. We're an hour and a half in. Friends, we're going to shut it down this birthday night. We'll be back again tomorrow to keep this going. Thank you for sticking it out, and thank you for all the gracious donations. You guys are fabulous. And remember, what did we take away from this particular live stream tonight? The most important thing is the accessory after the fact and what the Crown has to prove. And